Hello, Bill Molyneux here with Bill's Wargame World, and we're about to play the CSS Neuse miniature war game, and here we are at the CSS Neuse Civil War Museum. And the museum houses the only ironclad, Confederate ironclad, above water. So, it's in Kinston, North Carolina, and what's really neat, you can pick up the CSS Neuse book online, or pick it up at their museum gift shop. So, what else is there? Well, behind the museum, they have the full-scale reproduction of the CSS Neuse 2. And you can enter the museum ship, both decks. Now, we need to get ready to play our miniature game, and I see the CSS Neuse is heading out right now, and we're using Buck Sudru's Beer and Pretzel Ironclad rules. Alright everyone, we're going to start our game. We have the CSS Neuse and the Neuse River, and this is sort of hypothetical. It's 1865. We have the CSS Neuse has got orders to break through the blockade and mess up the Union supply ships that are supporting this invasion into North Carolina. Alright, we're using Buck Sudru's Beer and Pretzel Ironclad rules. I have a couple modifications, but nothing major. Real quick, there's the CSS Neuse. It moves 6 inches, has 25 hit points, heavy armor, very heavy guns, forward and aft. And it can make 2 turns a turn, and it has a forward ram. Now, blocking its way is the USS Nymph with speed of 8, 16 hull, and light armor. It's only got a forward, medium, and aft gun. Then the USS Eflin, basically a sister ship. These are just fast paddle wheelers. And then the USS General Thomas. Now that ship has some firepower and light armor. So, we're going to get ready to play. We flip a card to activate. Here we go. We flip a card, but Goober the Traveling Bear, he is here too. And he's going to be the game master to make sure that everything is fair for both the Confederate Navy and the Union Navy. Laugh. Life is short. So's Goober. Alright, I'll be moving camera angles around. And, of course, there's the CSS Neuse. I'll have to move the camera. Let's flip a card to find out who goes first. Is the Black King, which is the Thomas. Alright, let's move our camera. Alright, we have the General Thomas, and it can move a total of 9 inches. And tonight's game, we're actually going to let the camera run a bit. And we're just going to... now I can increase or decrease my speed by 2 inches. So that's our General Thomas is moved. Alright, I flipped the CSS Neuse. Alright, the CSS Neuse has its boilers. Boilers are going. The CSS Neuse, it's going to move its 6 inches, but it's going to turn a little bit. So it now will move 5 inches. So I used an inch to get a turn. I don't want to crash into the island. And you can't see the island. And there we go. Alright, so we have an island. You can't get within a half an inch of any of the shore or you'll run aground. And if the Joker comes we have a joker card that could come up, and that will cause an issue, like a log in the water, sandbar, or nothing. I'm going to go flip a card. Well, welcome back. I flipped a card. It wasn't the Joker, if you're wondering. It is, of course, Union. The Queen. It's the Elflin. It moves 8 inches. Alright. And then the Jack. So we're going to go ahead and move our other Union ship and get a different angle on our camera. Alright, welcome back. I went through and I did 2 decks of movement because I do have the Ironclads a bit out. So we have the Jokers come up. I got to roll 2 dice and see if we have nothing happened on that. So let's see what happens next. We have the Red King, which is the CSS Neuse. I'm going to go over there and move the Neuse, and I believe I'll have the ability to fire. Alright, well, the Neuse moved 5 inches and used an inch to turn, and we can now hit, we have range. We have a very heavy gun. We have our trusty chart here, and a very heavy gun has a range of out to 36 inches. So it's only 1 shot, of course, and we're firing on the General Thomas, and we rolled a 2, which I needed a 4, 5, or a 6. So we'll put a little puff of smoke out there. Alright, well, that completes another deck. So our first gunfire, or cannon fire, from a 6.4 Brook rifle, which they have one at the museum, and they have them they have one also in the reproduction Ironclad too. Alright, I shuffled up our cards, and the first card is the Joker. So I gotta roll 2 dice, and we have nothing on our chart, so we did not have a log in the water or a sandbar issue or anything like that, and that would affect the next ship, which actually is the General Thomas, which is the best of the 3 ships, and it's way out there, and it has light armor. Sorry about that, but it has 2 forward medium guns. So I'm gonna have it steam full ahead and then fire. Alright, well, the General Thomas has medium guns, and we are at medium range, 2 forward firings, and I need 3 through 6s. They both hit the CSS Neuse, so we have 2 hits on the CSS Neuse. Alright, and at medium range is 0 for penetration, and we're going to look up the chart here. I think it'll be easier to do it this way. And if you're curious, we have the CSS Neuse has heavy armor. So here we are, light, medium, heavy armor, and we have a medium gun. Oh boy. And at this range, we need 6s to penetrate the thick hide of the CSS Neuse. And we roll a 4 and a 5. So both shots have bounced off. Alright, I smoked the guns on the General Thomas, and our next card is the CSS Neuse. Now this Neuse has a ram also, but I'm not going to make it. It only moves 6 inches. Alright, the CSS Neuse has moved forward. It's reloaded its forward gun. Its aft gun, which also can pivot to starboard or port, is loaded. And that's it for that. Let's see what the Eflin and Nymph are doing. I'm going to go ahead and move them. And if you're wondering, they're over there. Well, the ships are getting close now, and the Eflin's the furthest one away, and the Eflin actually gets to move. Alright, so the Eflin will move up 6 to there, turn 1, and there. Now the Eflin's gonna fire. Okay, I messed up. I gotta change that. I only have a forward firing gun and an aft gun, and it's showing no pivot. Hold on, everyone. I made a mistake. I didn't check my ship stats good. Alright, we fixed that. So the Nymph is firing right here, and we need a 4, 5, or 6, and it fails. Okay. So we put some smoke out there. Gosh. Let's flip a card. Alright. It's our General Thomas that's carrying a lot of firepower. And we got three guns on the port and starboard. I'm going to pause the camera, come back to you. Alright, this is exciting because the General Thomas was able to get right up at close range. We'll have a +1 to penetrate. 3 medium guns. 2 through 6 is the hit. Oh my gosh. I rolled 2 1s and a 6. How horrible is that? So we have a medium gun on heavy armor, 4, 5, or 6 to penetrate. Heavy armor, medium gun, a 6 to penetrate with a +1. A 5 or a 6 is needed, and we rolled a 6. So we do have a hit on the Neuse. The Neuse has taken some kind of damage. We're going to flip our page over. Alright, and it's a 3. Alright, here's our damage chart. And we rolled a 3, which is a hull damage. We roll 1d6 for damage for the hull, and medium guns we add 1. So it did 2 points of damage. Alright, well the Neuse took 2 points of damage. Well, that was pretty pathetic shooting for the General Thomas. Alright, we're going to pause the camera. Alright, moved up the Eflin, and our Nymph has moved and fired. Thomas, the CSS Neuse King card came up last. The Joker had nothing. So, we got to roll doubles, by the way, for an unfortunate event to happen when the Joker comes up. But the Neuse needs to move. And I was going 6 so that I can slow down to 4, but I have a plan. Alright, the CSS Neuse is going to fire both its aft pivot gun and its forward pivot gun. We'll fire the aft one first at the General Thomas. It is, I gotta look at my chart. It is, the gun is a very heavy gun, and we're at close range. 2 through 6 to hit, and so the General Thomas has been hit. So our aft firing here, and damage to it is 2, and So the Thomas lost a gun, its aft gun. Alright, so on our little card here, they only had one aft gun. So its aft gun is gone. So that's the damage for that. And a little bit of smoke. And a little bit of smoke. Alright, we're going to fire the CSS Neuse forward gun. And it's going on the Nymph. And it's a hit. Oh, I rolled a 6 on the Nymph. By the way, Goober Peas is playing. When we bought Goober the stuffed bear in Fredericksburg, Virginia in 1988, my wife Barb at that time, who's now passed away, we were listening to this song, and that's how we ended up naming the bear. Anyhow, we have a hit, penetration, critical, roll again, and it takes 1d6 of damage to start off with. So the Nymph already takes a point. Alright, and now we're going to flip our page over. And we rolled a 2. Speed, lose 1d6 of speed points. Wow, the Nymph is lucky. It only lost 1 point, so it's down to 7 inches. Alright, so I marked that. So, even though we scored hits with and penetrated armor-wise and everything with the big 6.4 Brook rifles, really, both ships only took, a loss of a gun, loss of speed, and a hit point. I'm going to flip the cards. Alright, General Thomas is going to fire its 3 guns to the starboard and scores 1 hit. And that 1 hit, actually, I got to check here. Alright, so the General Thomas, which was firing here, scored just 1 hit, and we're going to see if it penetrated. So it's a medium gun, and it did. It actually got through the thick iron plating of the CSS Neuse. Let's see what kind of damage the Neuse has sustained. A 2. Oh no. It lost its aft gun. Well, that's not good. Alright, the Neuse only has 2 guns, and we just lost the aft gun. So we lose the forward gun. It'll be a bleak day. I'm going to flip a card. Alright, everyone, the Nymph moved forward and reloaded its forward gun. And this is the Nymph here. It couldn't fire. Now, the Eflin is moved up, and it can fire. It's got a forward gun on a pivot, and it hit. And, gosh, it's a medium gun. Needs to penetrate heavy armor. It needs a 6 with a +1 for range. It just made it. So, let's see if it goes through for damage. A 2. Oh no. Alright, the Neuse lost its forward gun. So, lucky rounds by the Union fleet has taken out both weapons. So I have no 6.4 guns on the Neuse. And flip the card. It's either the Jack or the King. And it's the Joker, I mean. And we gotta see if we roll doubles, which we don't. So, and the Neuse is going to move. We're gonna go 6 inches and ram the Nymph. So we're ramming the Nymph. And I gotta check the Nymph stats and speed, and I'll be back. Okay, the CSS Neuse has successfully rammed the Nymph. We are going to figure out our damage now. Okay, I have a ram, so no damage is taken to the Neuse. And then let's see what happens here to the Nymph. And it's going to take one heck of a lot of... I don't think the Nymph is going to survive the Ironclad going through it with 3d6. 9, 10, 15. So the USS Nymph took 15 points, and it's got... Well, it started with 16. It's got 15. All right. So the Nymph has just been gutted by the CSS Neuse. Wow. All right. I got to pause the camera. All right. I replaced the real Nymph with a wrecked one. And got to shuffle the cards. The Neuse now will start at a movement of... make sure I haven't lost any speed. I haven't. It only will move 2 inches next turn, or this turn. That's because it stopped dead in the water, and it's the first card to come up. I do not believe it has enough turning radius and its speed of 2. So I'm going to pause the camera. All right, our CSS Neuse moved forward. Now our USS Eflin is the next card up. And I don't know, I guess I can turn it and move past it and then fire with the aft gun. All right, let's fire the aft gun. And we missed. 2 through 6. No, sorry, that was a hit. Penetration. Yes, it goes through the armor of the Neuse. And, oh my goodness, it's bad. I rolled a 6. There's the 6. All right, so hull point of damage. 5 points into the Neuse. Not good. All right, so the Neuse took more damage. And we got to see if it's a critical hit, which it is. This is the second critical hit we had. And if you're curious, there's the critical hit chart. Reroll the 6. Hull, 2 die damage. Reroll another 6. The ship magazine blows up. Alright, I'm going to roll the 2 dice for damage first, which is 7. Alright, so we did 7 points. And now if I roll a 6, the magazine's been hit. And look at that. Alright, that concludes our game because I just blew up the magazine. The magazine on the CSS Neuse. Just exploded. Oh my goodness. And you know what? I have an exploded CSS Neuse right here. Alright, so the shot from the USS Eflin sunk the Neuse. It blew up its powder magazine. Alright. And so this is my Ironclad game. We only used a few ships. It plays really well with a lot of people, 1 or 2 ships per person. Being a card flipping system, you don't want to have too many ships because unless it'll get boring for a person if their ship moves first. Gotta do a shout out, Beer and Pretzel Ironclads by Buck Sudru. My rules are just pretty much his, and I just lightened them up a little bit. This is more for a fast convention level. And Buck writes great rule books, Gaslight, and so forth. So that's about it. The CSS Neuse. I try to support that museum, and I ask if you Google them or check them on Facebook. They do an awful lot for homeschool kids that come to their museum. If you have an extra $10, give them a donation or buy one of their t-shirts. All right, I am going to say goodnight. Stay safe, be kind, be courteous, and thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.